Hey, welcome to the Tim and Shrek podcast. This is your host, Tim. Gugabe, how you doing?
It's all ogre now. Yeah, life's good. It's been a while since we've done one of these. Nice to see everybody.
Yeah, I looked. It was actually the last pay-per-view we did. I think Strickland and
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I felt like it was longer, but I guess that was like a month ago or something. How have you been doing though, like in life and with the MMA space?
Yeah, ticking along. Some decent cards lately. Located in my undisclosed location in Southeast Asia. Life's good. Some decent cards. I think I was quite big on fading Ribovic's decision last week, so that was nice. But yeah,
I thought he deserved. It was close. It was close, but I thought he deserved it.
I know. But I don't think it should have been like minus. So it went off like minus 140 or something like that. When it's just like, Ribovic
Yeah,
is a guy who he only wins rounds and he hurts people. Like
yeah,
it's just kind of stupid. Like every fight, he kills somebody, and they just cling on him, and he wins a split decision. It's just like fuck off.
yeah. How else have you been doing? Good.
Yeah, decent. I had a decent card last week. I think I had Patterson, which was a bit of a meme, but I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't be playing minus 300 on the pure striker on the pure low volume strikers. I think a mil. Yeah, it was a decent card. How about you?
Um, I had a good couple of years, and then I've been like cold the last couple of months. Been on a losing streak, but I did play. I only played Cop yesterday, and
Yeah,
so I was pretty confident that Amalbayev couldn't out wrestle him. So obviously, like you got to play Cop there, you know. But if like you think that, like I know other people like obviously thought Amalbayev could, but I was a little higher on Cop's wrestling once I taped. But pre-tape, I was like leaning on Mabayev, but that ended up working out for me. Um, yeah, I've lost on a couple plays lately, like Suarez and stuff, and that was just like a bad play in hindsight. Lost on Basharat over Simone. I think that was a meme. I think Basharat was like, I think Simone kind of hit his win condition there. Like I would play that again. I wouldn't play Suarez again though, you know. Um,
yeah. I mean, I had a little bit of Simone. I think that was just kind of random. Like, I'm not going to
yeah,
go like, oh, it was. Yeah, I'm not going to say like Simone was secretly plus 1,000, but I don't know. I just don't think it was enough. Like, Basharat seemed to be building, but I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, I feel like if Simone can out wrestle him, I don't think he's going to win that fight that often, other
Yeah,
than knocking
that's
him
fair.
out. And it's like, and it happened, you know, but that could have easily turned into the Bautista fight, you know, or the
Yeah,
Oliveira fight, you know. So that's kind of
and
the
it
way I
was
felt about it.
and it was kind of a weird. I'm not gonna say soft knockout, but just it was kind of like random. Like there wasn't like he just died. Like I don't
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
know.
he landed clean, but it was also like Simone has some pop, but it's not like
Yeah,
he's one shot KOing people. It's happened like one time ever. And then Basharat's never even been dropped before. So I think it was a little random, but it's hard to
I,
know because you can never run the fights back, you know?
I think Simone's like Marab, but it's like I think Marab actually hits pretty hard. He just doesn't really have any sophistication to ever catch anybody out. Like I think if you
Yeah.
like make Marab hit the Nagano machine, he actually does hit hard. He just fine.
Yeah.
He just strikes in such an idiot way. It's just very hard for him to ever actually surprise anybody.
I mean, bantamweights are also just smaller, and
Yeah,
the opposition
yeah,
moves faster. It's harder to hit them clean, you know? Like at heavyweight, you can just hit clean all the time because your opposition can't move and they're, you know what I mean? Um,
I think Carp's probably the best flyweight in the world after that. I honestly think if Carp can get out of his own way, he's probably the best flyweight in the world. Like even like Pantoja, if he just fought with discipline and proactively denied the grappling, I just think he just kind of like
when
Carp is just Nagano for the division. It's stupid how physical he is.
I like how Cop has gotten more aggressive lately too. When he's
Yeah.
aggressive, he just forces it panics his opponents, you know, and like
Oh,
they start getting a lot more desperate. Like I think I am going to pick him versus Pantoja personally. It's weird because I've kind of gone back and forth on Cop. I've come to respect him a lot over the last, but it's funny. I played Makayev over him, you know,
yeah.
um,
That
and
was like,
but
that was a
he
weird
didn't pull
fight.
the trigger. You know, that's the problem with Cop.
He
Like if
broke his
Cop,
foot like 4 minutes in, didn't he?
yeah, I think that
He
was
got
a
badly
problem.
injured and then he like still clung on for a split decision or whatever, didn't he?
I think that was part of it. But I also think in 5 rounds, Cop is like one of those rare power guys. You want him in 5 rounds because I just feel like I feel like he'll eventually get aggressive at some point in 5 rounds. Where against three, he can like give away a round, and you're playing with thin margins. You know, where like in 5 rounds, like he's got like pretty insane cardio for 5 rounds, and he carries the
Yeah.
power. So I just feel like that plays well for him. Um, But
Yeah, all of his sliders are like A+. Like physically, he just has everything.
yeah.
Like I would like to say like peak John Dodson versus Manal Karp. Like it probably would have been a horrible fight because they would have fucking stared at each other. But wouldn't that have been fun?
Yeah.
Just like if you got the absolute best John Dodson.
Yeah. And Kop's only problem is I've never looked at one of his fights and been like, oh, he's bad. The only criticism is
work
just
rate.
when he's not aggressive. Like, and that's
Yeah.
it. But when he's aggressive, he's fucking great, you know?
I mean, back in Ryzen, he couldn't grapple. Like his grappling was awful back in the day. But like,
Yeah,
it seems like
it's
he's
really
gotten to a point
improved.
where his like first layer is now functional, so he's fine.
That's why it was funny because I was thinking Almabayev and then I tape and my opinions can always change. And I taped and I was like, ooh, he's like really, really improved. Yeah. And then I also thought Almabayev, it's like he's getting too much. He didn't really out wrestle Nicolau, and the guys he's out wrestling are like Jose Johnson and all these people. And then like Nicolau, he only got top time in round 3 because he hurt Nicolau, you know? And I'm like, I wasn't as impressed with Almabayev's like wrestling the more I tape, but anyway, yeah, I do agree. I like Simone as like a person and a fighter. I kind of always root for him. I just wasn't rooting for him there, but that is like a benefit that he gets to keep his job. Whoever Simone's manager is, it's like stop giving him all these hard matchups. You know, like every single fight, I feel like his strength of schedule is like RDA type shit. You know.
But like he was a top 10 guy, and like now he's on decline. I think it makes sense. He's kind of like, yeah, there's definitely easier fights you could take, but like he got some soft ones coming up. He had like Piranha and kind of shit like that.
Jake Matthews has the best manager ever. Like if you, anytime he's gotten a step up in competition, he loses, and then he'll go back on like a 3-fight win streak against bums, you know? And like the guys who he beats that are decent, it's like also a good stylistic matchup for him. So, like I feel like yeah.
He did arguably beat Morales.
Morales
won that fight, might be the best welterweight in the world.
Morales won that fight, but Matthews fought well.
Carp proactivity disease, but
yeah. All right, we're ranting now. We're getting off topic. Everyone's here for us to talk about UFC 313. Ankalaev and Pereira. Let's just kick it off with the main event. Who do you got here?
Ankalaev has the easy way and hard way of doing this. There is a good chance he decides to do it the hard way. But I do think, like, I think his leg kick issue has gotten better. Because, like, yeah, Rakic landed a bunch, but didn't really kill him instantly. Like, I just think people exaggerate the leg kick thing a little bit with Ankalaev. Because Jan just seems to have, like, high roll leg kick ability. Like, some people just disable you with, like, 2 leg kicks, and Jan has that. And I just feel like, yeah, Walker and all that tried to come out bombing him hard with leg kicks, and Ankalaev immediately grappled them.
Yeah.
Which I think is, like, kind of, like, yeah, if Ankalaev gets on top here, he's, like, minus 400. And, like, you know, I don't think Ankalaev should strike with him, but I feel like Alex Pereira's striking gets overrated a bit. Like, man was legitimately struggling with Roundtree and stuff like that. Like, you know, if they just had a very stinky, slow, outside sort of striking thing and it was closer than people are giving it credit for, it wouldn't shock me. So I'm just like, Ankalaev will pass, like, massively. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Ankalaev or pass as well. I thought I was going to be like surefire playing Ankalaev, and then I kind of got. This is like what I'm struggling with. There's like 2 things. So like I wanted to play Ankalaev, and then I was kind of. I have a feeling whether he chooses to wrestle or not, like I have a feeling you're going to get more striking time with Pereira and Ankalaev here. If you're an Ankalaev better than I think you'll be comfortable with. That's like one thing I'm a little worried about. Because in that case, like you're basically taking a pick 'em, and like, I do think they're going to strike. Cause like Ankalaev may not choose to, like there's only been like 2 or 3 fights he's shot more than like a takedown in. So like, that's one reason, but also Ankalaev, like I feel like Pereira, it's weird. Pereira, there's been like times, I mean, he hasn't fought any good grapplers though. There's been times where he's worked up decent and he does like do a good job of surviving there. And I don't think Ankalaev is just going to finish him on the mat. So I think like he'll like survive the rounds. So that's another reason. So I just have a feeling like you're going to get a little more striking time than you hope for if you're playing Ankalaev. But then again, whenever I watch that Jan Pereira fight, that was so bad. Like they both
Yeah.
looked awful. And if you're playing Pereira, go watch that fight, and I don't think you'll want to play him anymore because he just like he got really tired too. Like they both,
Israel as well. Like when you
yeah,
had to grapple Israel in the first fight, that was like he got
yeah.
super tired.
So like I that, and then he got like really tired against Jan, and now he's getting a step up in competition against like the best wrestler he's faced, and I'm like, shit, he could get just exhausted, and like, but that will also require Ankalaev to like go to the well, which he might not. And then the other sequence I saw, that there was like a single leg in the first Yuri fight, which was like embarrassing, and Pereira just like toppled over. So like I don't think his takedown defense is good, but I do think he does a better job than people give him credit for of like surviving and staying safe. Like he's not just getting like battered on the mat, But yeah, but like I do think watching that Jan fight, I'm like, fuck, he looked so bad in that fight. So that's like why I am still leaning Ankalaev. And I also think on the feet, like Ankalaev is better than Pereira in the pocket. Like Pereira has a better left hook, but Ankalaev's like way straighter and faster to the target, like in the pocket, I think. And he's like really good defensively. So Ankalaev could knock Pereira out, honestly.
Yeah,
It wouldn't shock me at all. Like
okay.
Ankalaev hits a lot harder than Izzy, and Izzy did it. And we've seen Pereira like stumbled a few times, So I don't know. I'm going all over the place a little bit, but I do like the one thing. I feel like if Ankalaev just becomes like plus 130, it'll be so much easier. I'll be like, okay, now I can like do it, and I still know there's a risk he won't grapple, but I feel like much more justified. And I could see that happening. Like Pereira has a lot of hype. So, yeah, like I mean, on the feet, Ankalaev like could just like win, but I do worry about the leg kick still and the like left hook of Pereira. Like Pereira is very dangerous,
I mean, I've always felt that Pereira as a striker is a bit. He's an attribute bully to a large degree. Like people always act like he's like this really super sophisticated striker, when it's just like he just has insane physicality in a lot of ways, and he's just a very scary individual. And he's like, he's turning 38 in like what 3 months. Like I don't think it's I don't think it's good for Ankalaev if they strike, but I don't think if they are striking that it is automatically Pereira minus 400. Well, if Ankalaev gets into his game,
100%, yeah. I think it would be like Pereira in the -1 still,
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even put him
struggled with Roundtree.
And the thing is, he was kind of getting boxed up against Roundtree for a little bit, and then Roundtree just tired out,
Yeah, that was really a size difference thing, because Roundtree just had to keep exploding over space and just eventually ran out of juice.
Yeah.
Because Roundtree was I think Roundtree's like 5'3" or something like that, and Pereira's so huge. So like I just my view of it is like, if I get a striking match, which obviously like Ankalaev shouldn't be doing, I'm not getting absolutely fucked. And if Ankalaev does the path of least resistance, I'm probably suddenly minus 500. So I'm just like, all right, could Pereira knock him out? 100%. But like, how wrong could you be? It's by KO at minus 120 is interesting, though I'm probably going to play Ankalaev submission because I enjoy losing money on that prop. It's one of my favorite passions in life, is just to put money on Ankalaev by submission and just have it disappear. I just think Ankalaev will pass all day. Like I do not see how any rational human being plays favorite Pereira.
Agreed. And like anyone who's thinking Pereira, could he win by knockout? Sure. Does it mean it was like a good play? I don't think so. And like I don't see how you could watch the Jan fight of Pereira and play him at Pick'em here. Jan arguably won that fight too. It was like really close, but Jan just couldn't move. And Ankalaev's
moment in the too, wasn't it?
Ankalaev's cardio is like super underrated. I've never seen him even like somewhat tired,
Yeah, we've never seen him work somewhat hard. So these two things are kind of somewhat related.
Every now and then he'll pick up the pace though, and he's like not tired, I'm pretty sure he's got like very good cardio for a light heavyweight. And like the way Pereira was like gassing and Jan looked awful too. Like I remember watching that fight. It was weird because I hadn't seen it for a while. And then it like brought me back to that night, and I was like embarrassed watching it. I was like, this is awful, And then like Pereira's gone on such a great run, so I kind of forgot about it. and I haven't had to tape it hard for a while because Pereira's given a striker every fight since,
Yeah,
Um,
the thing of
so
Pereira, he just kind of gets a. Pereira's just had a very sort of favorable run. Like I just like I
oh
feel like
yeah,
there's like a universe
yeah,
here where like Ankalaev Ankalaev beats Jan in that fight and is defending champion, and then Pereira fights defending champion Ankalaev in like 2023 or something like that, and Pereira is like plus 400 here.
yeah.
Like I legitimately think that could easily have happened. Like I feel like we've got kind of got the thing where like Pereira's had the absolute run of his life. Ankalaev keeps nuking his own career because it's funny, and like well I just think there's versions of this fight where like Ankalaev is just like lined minus 400 because he'll be the one coming off a dominant championship run, and then Pereira just kind of memes his way to a title shot or something.
I see. This is the thing. I kind of do because, like, I do think he can survive on bottom, and that, like, if I saw Ankalaev just murking him on the mat, like, and then really beating him up, like, could he land like a shot, like a big ground and pound shot, and it results in a finish? Sure, but Pereira does a good job of like locking down, and he'll retain guard, and like he'll literally go on lockdown on like a half guard, and just and like survive the round. And Ankalaev, like, he had really good ground and pound. I remember, like pre-UFC and stuff, like a long time ago, whenever he was making his debut. But the only guy he's really finished on the mat is Anthony Smith, and that's because like you don't have to get past
Like
Anthony
God.
Smith's guard. He turtles up, and like
But also, Anthony Smith's leg exploded from memory.
Yeah, I think there's something with that too. But like other than that, like a lot of guys like Krylov and stuff, Ankalaev like hasn't really been able to just run over on the mat. And I think Pereira being like jujitsu based and just like surviving will get him out of most rounds. Like, of course, like I still think Ankalaev could like land some ground and pound and get him out of there. But I am leaning towards Pereira surviving generally down there. And that's like the one thing that's kind of like making me, but again, like Pereira didn't look dangerous anymore in that Jan fight after they were tiring out. Like, go watch round 3. Like, he was just he was landing like point scoring shots. Like, his power kind of went away. So it could just take like a couple takedowns of Ankalaev to really snowball this fight.
Yeah, that's more my take. I'm not necessarily expecting Ankalaev to finish off a single takedown, but I just think if he gets 2 or 3 minutes and works the medium ground and pound, that Pereira's cardio will just go.
Yeah.
Like,
He did land some
ugly.
good shots for Jan.
Yeah. Round 5, he that was like borderline TKO. Probably should have been stopped.
Yeah. I do think Ankalaev is I think, yeah. Sorry, we talked about it too long. I picked Fiziev here, but like, and when I watched the first fight, like Fiziev was clearly at like a speed advantage and everything in round 1, and I think that same thing will come into play here. And like Gaethje, I don't like that he was just in that war with Holloway. Like I feel like Gaethje probably has declined since that fight, where like Fiziev's probably Fiziev still. So I think I slightly lean Fiziev, and that first fight could have went either way, And I think Fiziev's more likely to knock him out as well, but I still just like hate the fact like Fiziev's cardio is just not very good, and like I don't see him winning round 3. Like I don't favor him to win round 3. That's like one round that I like kind of think he's going to lose, as a favorite in a striking fight, when I think you're going to like lose round 3. And he's also taking this on short notice and has been out for a while. So like, I'm okay with Fiziev being a favorite, but I have enough concerns. Like, can I for sure say he's over 6 out of 10 here? I don't think so. But I will pick him to win. And also Gaethje outlanded him to the head like 80-30 in that fight too, which, that kind of concerns me for Fiziev as well. But like Fiziev lands a lot of like body strikes with his kicks and everything. But I do think Fiziev will like win round 1, and it's probably going to come down to round 2 because like round 2 will be huge. But I don't know, like a decision I think is like really, really competitive, but I do think Fiziev's more likely to win by knockout. I just hate Gaethje's durability, and like he was getting hurt against Holloway like multiple times even before he got knocked out, So that's kind of where I'm thinking. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think Fiziev was kind of robbed the first time. Again, I don't want to back Fiziev because he doesn't mix the martials. He gets tired,
Yeah,
and he's just coming off a major injury.
yeah,
I just do not want to back a low volume kickboxer who is coming off a major knee injury to TKO him in the cage. But I also think Gaethje was very lucky to win. I had Gaethje, I had Gaethje's decision the first time, but I just think that was pretty lucky. Like Gaethje just kind of had like the perfect recency, the perfect cut optics, like everything just lined up for Gaethje. Like
because round two he was losing most of that round and just had a good end to it. He got outlanded in
yeah,
that round. Like I
yeah,
kind of thought Fiziev maybe took round. He won like 3.5 minutes of the round, and then Gaethje started having success, and everyone gave him the round, and I was like, so
yeah. Yeah, for me, it's just like I think Gaethje, like for me, I just think he's kind of a mirage. Like if you look at
yeah,
if you look at Gaethje's like recent career, his run up the division was a bunch of like insta gibs against like the most round one bonkable people you could ever bonk, like what Vic, Barboza, Cerrone. Then Ferguson, good win at the time, though has aged horribly. Chandler was absolutely life or death. Chandler wins that if he has a fucking brain. Fiziev, probably a
yeah.
robbery.
You're really
Even
right.
Poirier,
Like the more, oh my gosh,
even Poirier just kind of. I felt Paul Poirier looked like the favorite in that fight. To be
oh yeah,
honest, like
I
again,
think
like I'm not saying that
yeah,
like he doesn't like it only happened fairly early, so maybe Gaethje takes over. But like Poirier kicked his ass in round one,
he
and then
won
just
round
gets
one
head
on
kicked.
every card. Yeah.
Yeah, like and that I think Poirier was like minus 250 after round one, and then just head kicked. And like, how often does Gaethje throw a fucking head kick?
It was like the only head
Um,
kick he's ever thrown, and it knocked Poirier
yeah,
out, who's generally pretty tough.
yeah, like good for him for like going for it, but like, yeah, I just think Gaethje is a bit of an illusion. Like even like
Yeah.
Cerrone, Barboza, I think that if those guys like get more time to get comfortable, they could have fucked Gaethje up because like Gaethje does not defend his body. Like I think that like early career Gaethje who used to just go for it was probably a better Gaethje than the current one who's just very willing to counter and hang back. Like I was very big on Holloway. And like I just think the Gaethje's approach to Holloway there made it a lot harder for him if he'd just been the old guy who just runs forward and bombs leg kicks. Because like round four he started doing that and he started actually competing. And the first like 3 rounds he was trying to kind of like slow distant strikey Gaethje thing, and it just doesn't work unless you're fighting unless you're fighting Tony Ferguson. Um, yeah, like for me, I'm kind of annoyed. Like I really like for me, I just want like Gaethje and Chandler to take a step down and be like minus 300 against like a top 10 lightweight, and like that would be able. I just think that like that entire tier of lightweights is just kind of shit. Like they just kind of had this sort of fortunate thing where they get to fight each other all day,
Yeah,
and
it's
as a
crazy.
result, they look a lot better than they actually are.
Especially Chandler. Like Gaethje at least has beaten like Fiziev and Dustin Poirier, and like he's got some good wins. Or like Chandler's like 2-4 in the UFC, and one of his wins is Tony Ferguson. And and like even before he came to the UFC, he was like knocked out by Pitbull. So yeah. But anyway, like I agree. Like I've always been lower on Gaethje than the market. Like we both hammered Holloway against him. That was a big
Yeah,
spot for both of us. And then the I played Charles against him. I played Khabib against him. The only time he has ever got me was against Poirier, and I think I just kind of got. I think I was on the
yeah,
right. It was even money, and like Poirier's better than him. It's just
yeah.
Gaethje caught him, and it's like that can happen. Gaethje does hit hard. I'm not going to take that away from him, but I think he's just historically he's a fun fighter. He's like UFC level. He's earned like where
I
he's
think he's
earned where
a
he's gotten. He like goes out there and swings hard and everything. But I do think like that style is like a 50-50 style. Like, and
yeah.
yeah. Um
I think he's like a solid top 15 action fighter, but I just feel like he's just kind of had like the perfect version of his career in a lot of ways. And I just feel like there are people who are like top 20 lightweights who, if you gave me plus 300, I would pretty much max bet them because I would be like, oh, it's going to be 50-50. Like, I really liked Hooker. Like, I was looking at Hooker plus 150, plus 140 against Gaethje. I was super into that. Like, Fiziev, I'm less interested because I'm just like, Fiziev, he's a favorite and off an injury, doesn't really give himself much ceiling. But like, I thought Hooker was going to be horrible for Gaethje because like, I think Hooker actually goes the body and Gaethje does not defend his body.
I was
And
going to
I
be
thought,
playing Hooker in that fight like
yeah.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
I'm kind of annoyed Hooker. I'm annoyed Hooker fell through because that was the spot in my opinion.
he's a better grappler than Gaethje too. like,
Yeah, like Hooker's
um,
better. Like for
yeah,
me, like Gaethje, like the only way Gaethje was ever covering was if Hooker like did the Poirier thing and just melted after like round 2, and even then
yeah,
it was only 3 rounds.
yeah. All right, moving on. Oh, really entertaining fight. I'll let you go first on this one. Turner and Bahamondes. Fun fight.
It's weird. Like I think Bahamondes has like a deeper cardio and will dig deeper, but also I think Turner kind of gets the first knockdown. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, how much are you how much percentage are you putting into Turner finishing off the first knockdown? And also like Turner, I think if Turner got on top of him, it would be very bad for Bahamondes. Like Turner's not a particularly skilled top player, but he's like aggressive, and Bahamondes is just awful off his back. Um, yeah, like live Bahamondes. Like for me, gun to my head, I take Bahamondes. I think he's got a bit more territory to win the fight in, just because he's so much pacier and he just does not fuck off. And like Turner just seems like a bit of a quitter. But I don't know. For me, I think it'll be a very fun fight. I just like I can see I just feel like I think Bahamondes has more ways to win, but I think that Turner's going to get the first knockdown. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. I think I ended up picking Bahamondes, and then I've been like, you know, yesterday or something, and then I've been thinking about it more, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I really liked him versus Torres. Like Torres was clearly like a first round merchant, you know? And I don't know, like Torres still landed pretty hard on Bahamondes, and I just don't like how hard you can land on Bahamondes because Turner does hit different, you know? And so I'm pretty worried about Bahamondes early in this fight. Like I know he's tough and he's never been knocked out before, but Turner's like a different type of hitter. Um, so there's that. But I will say, like, Turner is kind of like he has like a sneaky bad chin. Like, and I don't think people like talk about it enough. He's been hurt a lot. He's been knocked out several times, even like on the regionals. And so yeah, like Bahamondes might be tougher and that could really play, you know, a big that could be a big factor here. Yeah, like Turner early, Bahamondes live is probably the way to go. If Turner doesn't get him out of there in round
Yeah,
one, like I have a feeling, I just think Bahamondes will win. You know, um, and yeah, like I think that's the way to play this fight because Turner's a
yeah,
legitimate threat early. I will say I'm not. I see a lot of people talking about Turner out grappling Bahamondes. I'm not buying that. I don't think Turner's like some. I don't think he's a very good offensive wrestler. And Bahamondes, he was like held down and stuff against Klein, but that was after he got like hurt really bad. I think that was more like striking oriented, you know. Um, and he's shown decent defensive grappling in other fights, and I'm just not buying Turner like out wrestling him. I think it's going to be a thing where like Turner might kill him early, and if he doesn't, jump on Bahamondes live, you know.
yeah. I think when Bahamondes starts winning here, he won't stop winning. But I just feel like it's just going to be that first like 3 minutes. I could just see him getting killed. Like I feel like if Turner wins, it's going to look like he was minus 300, but I don't think
Yeah, yeah.
he was ever actually minus 300. But yeah, pass me. I'm kind of whatever. Like if I've gotten like plus Bahamondes early in the week, I'd go for it. But like at this price, whatever. Coin flip.
Yeah. Amanda Lemos and Yasmin Lucindo. You can go ahead here.
I think Lucindo, like process wise, like I actually took some of her plus money like earlier in like last week. I just thought she just had
It's a
better
good call.
process. For like she
Yeah.
is kind of like she does seem like I could definitely see Lemos hitting her, but it's just like it's women's. Like how much credence can you give to Lemos KO? And I feel like Lemos is just kind of like I feel like Lemos is like pivoting away a bit from like just being a ridiculous power threat. She just seems to fight a bit more technically these days. Yeah, I'm fairly high on Lucindo. Like she probably bounces off Zhang just because Zhang's like a better version of her, like physically. But like, yeah, Lucindo's just got a good solid style that wins fights. Like, yeah, Lucindo just seems like a genuinely good prospect, and Lemos is an absolute mess. And if she goes in the back, she's probably gonna have issues there. The under sort of interests me a little bit because I feel like it's Lucindo goes forward very hard. Lemos could kill her, and like I could see Lemos quit if she gets put in the back as well. Um, Yeah, I think the under's probably better than either my money line side, honestly.
Um, yeah, like I can I understand that, like with the under. There could be like subs on either side too. It's weird. Like Lucindo, like I did pick her to win because she has like more wrestling upside. But the thing is, Gugabe, all she has is a body lock takedown. Like it's very, very WMMA to like have clinch upper body takedowns and they like work all the time. And then you go against one person who knows how to like underhook and pummel and it just doesn't work, you know? And so I'm a little worried, like if she's going for those body locks and, you know, Lemos is just physical enough to fight out of him and avoid him. Because I do think Lemos is like more powerful as a striker, and I probably favor her on the feet. But Lucindo can compete there, but Lemos definitely hits harder. But
Yeah.
ultimately, like if Lucindo spams 5 body lock takedown attempts, she probably gets 1 or 2, you know, just because it's WMMA. So I'll pick her to win.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say though, Lucindo, have we ever seen her like on her back? Because like Marina just kind of pushed her over, and no one's really tried to take her down. And she's lost by like submission 3 times on the regionals. And I could like, she was really young though, and I couldn't really find those fights. And like Lemos is capable of like getting top position from time to time, like more so like powering through. So that's like the one thing that like I'm not expecting like it to happen, but I do think it's like possible because it's WMMA, you know?
Yeah.
So like, have you ever seen her on her back? Like I did not like the way she just fell over against Rodriguez, you know?
I think Viana apparently got on top of her, according to Fight Metric. I haven't really done deep tape on this. I just think it's just two sort of huge idiots who they will just run into each other. Like, for me, it's just like under a pass, and like I took this in there because I thought she would just do a lot more, and like 1 or 2 takedowns would just kind of be. Yeah, I assume if Lucindo hits like 1 takedown, she's minus 200 from there, kind of thing. Yeah, and yeah, Lemos is very live to jump guillotines and all that sort of stuff. I think Lucindo is a solid, like she's a solid little fire hydrant. Like, yeah, it wouldn't shock me if she was awful off her back or something. But like, well, she is. Like, she literally.
I mean, you're doing your thing. That was like the perfect term to describe her. Like, I know. I mean, I'm gonna steal that and plagiarize it. So
she's just evolutionary Andrade. Actually, Lucindo versus Andrade would be a fun fight.
Yeah. No, like I agree. Like, I don't know. The one thing I'll defend on Lemos, though, is like people are like giving her a lot of shit on her grappling, and it was like Zhang, Jandaroba, and Dern. You know what? That's like,
yeah.
Besides like Suarez, you know, Suarez would be the other like best grappler in the division. So like I played Jandaroba like even versus Lemos. It was obvious to me, but like Jandaroba is way better as like a grappler. Than Lucindo, you know, especially like her top game and stuff. But I will pick Lucindo to win though. But I'm not like. I think there's enough questions.
Yeah, but like Lemos got controlled by like Waterson and shit like that. Like remember the Waterson fight? Like Waterson was plus 150. Round 1 she takes down, holds it easily. Round 2 she gets guillotined, and I just that's still one of the most enraging fights I can think of because it was like Waterson looked minus 500. That was bullshit.
I have a feeling this is going to look similar to the Marina fight where like Lucindo's going to win like 4 minutes of like every round, but she'll get bonked like 1.5 times.
Yeah.
So it'll turn into a split, you know. Like I just feel like Lemos is gonna hit her really, really hard at one point, you know.
Yeah, most likely. Like I'm planning to lose like a very fun under. Like it would just be like there'll be like Lemos will get into like at least one bad deep arm triangle. Yeah. Lucindo's head will fall off at least once, and then they'll just get GTD split decision.
And then like a submission will get saved by the bell or something.
Yep. Yeah, like end of round 1, Lemos will be in the deepest arm triangle in the world, and then just bang.
Yeah.
I know how these fights go.
Oh, man. All right. Anyway, Bobby Green and Mauricio Ruffy.
I mean, Ruffy just like went life and death with the shit version of like again, like there's also like Green's kind of old these days and seems to be less durable, and like maybe Ruffy just takes his head off, but like maybe Yontop isn't the shit version of Bobby Green anymore, but also it's like that Yontop fight was like, I think if Yontop's sequencing did better, Yontop could have been favorite there. Like that round 3 was not good.
Well, dude, Yontop was owning round 2 as well, and then Ruffy stole it with a big right hand. Like
the same round 1. like Yontop like won
Yeah,
like 10
yeah.
minutes. Again, I was big Yontop and I was very pissed off because that was like probably like the best bet of the year EV wise, and like
Yeah.
fuck
He
you.
got outlanded. He got outlanded in the fight. Like Top
Yontop straight up
outlanded
looked
him.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yontop straight up looked favorite in my opinion. Like that was Ruffy did not look good when he had to work. And like, he killed Malarkey instantly, and like good for him. Though like I feel like a younger Malarkey could have fucked him up.
This is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I think Green is like, you cannot play Ruffy here. It's just way too wide. Because like if he doesn't knock Green out, like I mean, this fight becomes very very close. But I have a feeling Green's going to be like doing well, and then I think he's just going to get knocked out too. But this is another. There's like 4 good live spots here, and this is another one. Because like.
Will it be though? I could just see it being like Green just looks like the favorite, then gets hurt, then just dies, then he just dies, and you're like, oh, I took Green at plus 150.
I still think the finish will most likely come in first round. Like if it does,
yeah, true.
Like I think if Green gets passed around, like he pushes a big enough pace as well to where I think like Ruffy will be huffing and puffing. Like I still think he could get like a round 2 finish or something, but I think the danger will go down considerably, especially once Green starts like walking him down, But like Ruffy is, yeah, like I have a feeling it's going to be like a negative EV KO,
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's clearly what's like Green most significant strikes. If that's even out yet.
I think that'd be out yet. That'd be like
that at like plus money would be nice,
Yeah.
Because
I feel like the market is just going crazy. Like there's these like power Brazilians lately, and the market is just absolute departing from any sense on them. Even like Gene Silver. Like I think Gene Silver's good, but like, come on, like maybe these guys, like maybe this low medium output power striker shouldn't be minus 600 against everybody. Like I'm not saying that like they'll win fights, but like. I understood with Dagestani thing.
KO'd. Like they're just strikers get KO'd. Like Barlow was a lot better than Patterson on the feet, but he got KO'd.
Yeah.
Yeah, like clearly.
I think it's like if you're a low pace striker, it's just like you can easily the fight can just get away from you. Like you just get like a bad moment, and then like you're just behind the 8 ball. Like I back when it was like the Dagestanis had this pricing, at least the Dagestanis had the style where it's like they could possibly be minus 1,000. Where like the Gene Silvers and the Mauricio Ruffys were just like, well, what are you gonna fucking do? Like, how are you ever minus 500 of that style?
I
2 hilarious knockdowns.
No, I could see something similar to the fight we just saw this weekend with Charles Johnson, where like early
hurts him bad in one,
power threat, he gets hurt, and then like maybe he starts coming on. Green starts kind of letting his strikes go a little later in round 2. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like just a couple power strikes. I mean, just like Ruffy did that first against Top. Like I could see something like that, I think just like a power basis, which I agree is like, so if there's like a good plus number at decision only for Green, I still think, I mean, if this goes to the cards, a plus number on Green would probably be a good spot, Like things probably went good for Green if he makes it to the cards, but I still do think he could lose a decision, like a power-based decision,
Yeah.
Are there any other fights you want to talk about?
Marshall Santos seems a bit wide. Again, it just feels like Marshall is just like the market has decided he sucks. Myron's just like a pure Brazilian power striker kind of guy, and like Marshall was gone from being a great prospect to fuck you suck.
Yeah. Well, I liked. I've had an interesting
like good pieces.
I've had an interesting like run on him because I played him at like minus 170 or something. I feel against like Rojo, and then against Gomez, I was like, this is too wide. I think this is gonna be really close. And then I played Dolgarian against him. Dolgarian was a dog against him, and now like
for me.
Yeah, but now I think I think Francis is like he was getting priced as a favorite against like Gomez and Dolgarian, and now he's like plus 300 against Santos. I think it's just like too much of a correction, Yeah,
like and also just like as far as like I agree, Marshall was a bit overhyped when he came in, but as losses go, it's like all right, you got absolutely fucked by a better and bigger grappler. Like yeah, it's ugly, but I just like with martial style, you just can't really do much about that. And then you got pulled into the Gomez first and lost the split decision, where it's like he could have won that fight, and if it breaks slightly differently, he does win that fight. Like I don't think
Yeah,
like I
he like
think it was a
10-8'd
super close
almost
fight,
almost
but he
too.
had all the
Yeah.
upside. So like
Yeah.
I just sort of feel and now he's like massive dog to some big Brazilian power hitter who got absolutely fucked by Argueta. And I'm just like, all right, like
Yeah.
Myron Santos got annihilated by Argueta. So
I
like,
agree. I agree the line's wide. Like I haven't taped it, but like just from what I know of the guys, I agree.
yeah, and like, yeah, and also I think stylistically, Marshall being secretly minus 500 is more likely than Santos being secretly minus 500 in this fight. Like, end of the
I
day,
also
if you're taking the grappling and cardio side, like, it's MMA betting. If you're taking the side of the grappling and the cardio at plus 300, you are pretty much never wrong.
think isn't Marshall like pretty tough
Yeah,
too. Like
yeah.
he has good durability, which I think is really important. Like in a fight, like I feel like Santos to cover is going to have to KO him at like a high clip, and
I
Marshall
mean,
seems
he can
pretty fucking tough.
he can definitely be hit, but like, like I think people are giving him issues because he went to a war with Bazookia, but I feel like people were like way too low on Bazookia as well.
Yeah,
Like, I think
yeah,
people were acting like Bazookia was like horrible. When like, I don't think Bazookia is gonna go win a title, but I don't think Bazookia is like sucks. Like, I think he's like just a C for the division.
yeah. He's like a low tier
And I think
UFC
Bazookia
fighter.
is harder to control. And I think I think Bazookia is harder to control than Santos is going to be.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed with that.
What
All right.
else? Shruya versus Van will be fun. That'd just be a fun
Yeah,
fight.
yeah. I'm excited for that one.
I took the under at like plus 170. I just think it's just going to be very binary. Like, Shruya's either going to hit some crazy, stupid guillotine choke in round 1, or Van's going to exhaust him.
Yeah, agreed. That's a fun fight. I'm really excited for that one. Ferreira Petrosian is a good one too.
I think Petrosian should just win minutes, but Pereira just has magical powers, so it's just like the line is fine.
I thought I was gonna like Petrosian, and I ended up
I
picking
liked a
him.
bit.
I got
He's like
scared
minus one.
off once I taped. Like,
I think
Ferreira,
it's like
like
minus 120. I think mine minus 120, but minus 150 is like whatever. Fuck that.
yeah, Ferreira, like I think because he's really dangerous, and Petrosian has been hurt a lot, and so like that could happen. But I think the main thing is everyone's labeling Ferreira as like a KO1 merchant, but he carries power like more than that. Because even against Magomedov, when the fight, like he actually had a fight extend, he was like making Magomedov grapple. Like there's a reason Magomedov grappled in round 2 and 3, because like Ferreira was trying to kill him still. And I think that is what I'm worried about, is Petrosian isn't super dangerous. And so like, yeah, he could, if it goes 15 minutes, he's going to probably skate to a decision. But I also feel like Ferreira, he doesn't just have like 4 minutes to win by KO here. I feel like he has 15, so that was like don't you, like, I don't think Ferreira is just like a guy who like gasses after a round, like, you know what I mean? And Petrosian doesn't like tire people really. He's just kind of like a point fighter.
I mean, I think that Petrosian KO is being underrated a little bit here. Like Ferreira just seems to be very fragile. He's just
Yeah, he could KO him.
Yeah, like, it wouldn't shock me if like, Pereira's been hurt badly by like fucking who hurt him bad like last time? Our boy Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus has the funniest UFC career, I swear. Like it's just like going from being like he's like Bilal Muhammad. I hope he like Bilal Muhammad's it in the end. Like just when he like we like people and winning fights, and I'm like happy for our boy Stoltzfus.
Yeah.
Because like Ferreira's been hurt badly by like Abus was ugly. Stoltzfus, Stoltzfus is one of the greatest arseballs of the 21st century. Like that was insane. Like Stoltzfus looked like minus 500, and then just Ferreira gets the most miraculous knockout. Like, do you remember that? Like Ferreira was essentially KO'd, and then just hits a spinning elbow out of nowhere.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it was definitely
he
like
got KO'd by Ruziboa, who sucks.
I watched that today.
Yeah.
I'm like looking around. Yeah.
Even like
anyway, like you're go on.
Even like Phil Hawes, like again, if Phil Hawes had anything left in the tank, I think he beats Pereira. That was just Hawes' like retirement fight. Very sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna cut this now. We will. We have a lot of cards coming up and whatnot. A lot of fun fights coming up. Well, I guess before we go, is there anything you're like eyeing for, like looking forward?
As in like future fights,
Yeah.
or
Yep.
I think some fun stuff coming up. Vittori Lidze too. I think Vittori should be more than minus 120.
I
like
sort
over
of
five
do, but I'm
rounds.
still kind of like, yeah.
I mean, I just
Yeah.
like I think I recognize the Lidze like surprised Vittori in the first fight, but I just feel like we've seen so much like Lidze melting. It's just like maybe Vittori is just should just be minus 300 here kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, some fun fights in the cup.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna roll. We will.
Gotcha.
We'll do some more like podcasts going forward. It's been a bit. We always do like the pay-per-views, I feel like, but every now and then I just get busy. You get busy, you know, and you have a kid now. So thanks everyone for joining. But I'm excited for this card. So I'll talk to y'all later.
Gotcha, guys. Bye.
See ya.